My name is Joe Spitz, S-P-I-T-Z. I should say, I tried to get in to service by volunteering. But when I got down to the volunteers office, they said that they couldn't take me because I'd already received notification that I was to be drafted sometime in the near future. So I was drafted into the Army and went in at Camp Gordon, Georgia. Spent about a year and a half there. And this was a basic training and all that sort of thing. And I was in a 105 howitzer company. And one day I went down to the headquarters, and they on the bulletin board said the Air Force will be here for interviews if you're interested in applying. I thought, oh man, yeah. I'd been sleeping outside long enough. So I went down there, and I passed all of the qualifications, so they put me on an airplane. No, I went up by train. I went down to Miami Beach, and I was there about 3 weeks, and took all the tests and everything, and I have absolutely no coordination. You know, when they put you on these machines and you're supposed to, one foot goes one way and the other like this, and I just couldn't do it. So they said, well, we can't take you in as a pilot, but if you're interested, we put you in bombardier school or navigator school. And I was just a young guy then, and it said, if I can't fly the damn thing, I don't want to ride on it. And they said, that's up to you. So they sent me to Salt Lake City, Utah, which was a replacement depot. And at the replacement depot, everybody came in there. You know, if they didn't fit one place or another, if they were sick when their unit moved out, that's where you went. So you never knew what tomorrow was going to bring, because I'd come in every morning about 4 o'clock and read a bunch of names off and say, you guys are shipping out at 8 o'clock this morning and you're going to Alaska. Next morning they come in and read a bunch of names off, and you guys are going to the Sahara Desert. So you never knew. So one morning they come in and read a bunch of names off, and my name was on the list, and they said, you guys are in the Air Force. So I was in the Air Force again. So they sent me from there to, they sent me there to Camp Gordon, Georgia, and I was down there about a year and a half. And we were getting ready to go overseas, and we had one more leg in the training where they kind of shine you up, you know. And we went in there, and I was there for, maybe 4 or 5 months. And I'd been transferred up to Alabama, Fort McClellan. And from there is when I saw this thing on the bulletin board. And then I got into the Air Force that route. That was the first time I was ever up in a plane, and I really enjoyed that training. They had a gunnery training, air to ground, and they got you accustomed to shooting at a moving target. And they had a big proving ground. It was probably a mile around. It was a horseshoe, and they put you in this back end of a pickup truck, and they had a little cage around you so you could stand up and shoot. And you'd go down this route, and they'd throw clay pigeons at you. You never knew where they were coming or where they were going. And I enjoyed that. I was a hunter from before I went in the Army, and I thought, this is great. So I really enjoyed that part of the Army. It was a B-17, but it was just one that was, they'd take the whole crew up at one time, and lets you shoot from different positions. And we were primarily shooting at tow targets pulled by another plane. And we didn't have any problems with that. Once in a while, somebody would get pretty close and then they'd radio back, you know, pull off, pull off. But if you're shooting tracers, they could see where they were going. And sometimes we'd shoot ground targets, and there's where you met your crew. See, prior to that time, the pilots were training, and the gunners were training, and the radio operator was training, the engineer was training, and well, we thought it was an excellent airplane. And the stories that you heard were, they'd get shot up so bad that they'd swear nobody could come back on them, and they'd make it back. Well, you had to check that everybody had ammunition, and you had big cases, and in the tail I had 2 cases on one side and 2 on the other. And when we get in the air, we'd have to clear the guns, we'd have to shoot a few rounds to be sure nothing was stuck or anything like that. All we had done that was 50 calibers. That was the only gun. We had 12 of them. I trained in the ball turret. And the guy that was in the ball turret, he thought that was a real nice deal, but he was in the tail. So I watched films, and I saw several planes go down, and normally they would just spiral down, you know. And I thought, hell, there's no way you can get out of that, because if that thing starts going down like that, centrifugal force is going to hold you in it, and you just wouldn't be able to pull the turret up to get out. So I asked him, I said, you always wanted to fly the turret, I'll trade you. He said, yeah. And so I got in the tail, and I enjoyed that, really. I think the one thing I enjoyed about it the most was that as we go into a target, all the bad stuff we'd already gone through. And never had to sit there and watch it coming. We went to, as a crew, we went to Omaha, Nebraska, picked up a brand new airplane from the factory, and flew it to, somewhere on the East Coast, and we hit bad weather. We were going over to England, and we had to go into Iceland for a couple of days. And after that, then we were released to go to somewhere on the, I don't recall the city, on the coast of England. And there we were assigned a ship. We picked up this airplane in Omaha, and it was a good airplane. So we get over there, and we had to turn the airplane into the like a motor pool. And so we're asking around, you know, what are we going to be flying in? And he said, oh, over there. And there was one old beat up crane. I said, what's the deal here? And they said, well, you guys got 25 missions to go. A lot of these guys got 1 or 2 missions. They ought to have the best equipment, you know. So we got the oldest ship in the group.
Flying in the Air Corps, flying to a fade. There's a flying fortress with a knocked out name.
Pistol packing mama, hear the airmen say. Pistol packing mama, lay those bombs away.
Why, just the other morning, the CO walked on in. Then the CO told us that we would bomb Berlin.
Pistol packing mama, spread your wings and flap. Lay those bombs away, babe, right in Hitler's lap.
Oh, then we boarded Mama, and Mama took us high in the wild blue yonder, high into the sky.
Pistol packing mama, see that land below. Pistol packing mama, let your pistols go.
And spin that turret, Mama, spit them bullets clean. Shake them old engines and shake that old machine.
Push aside that ack-ack, lay it on the line. Pistol packing mama, baby, babe, you're doing fine.
Well, now the job is done, baby, baby, take a bow. We'll be back tomorrow, but let's go home for now.
Lay those bombs away, babe, lay those bombs away.
And we, on the fifth mission, we lost the supercharger on one of the engines on takeoff. But that was at the point where if you aborted a mission, the pilot could be put in a brig. So our pilots told us, he said, we've lost the supercharger, but he said, I'm not going to turn around. He said, we're going in. So we went in and with 3 engines in, one without a supercharger, and then we lost an engine going into the target, and the engine we lost finally conked out. They had to feather the prop. And we went into the target, and coming off the target, we got hit, flak. And so the formation we were in, you always had to stay in formation. And so our pilot told the crew leader, the squadron leader, that he said, we can't keep up with you guys. He said, we're going to have to fall off. And luck was with us. That Battle of the Bulge, you might recall, had terrible weather, terrible. We were on the ground sometimes for about 10 days, couldn't get in the air. And so we were really happy to see that fog, because that was, the fighters couldn't get to you. And we went down into the fog, and we lost another engine. So now we got 1 engine. And we had no way of knowing where we were, because we had thrown out everything. Thrown out the guns, the navigation equipment, everything. We couldn't get the ball turret out. We had wrenches and everything, but we couldn't shake it loose. So anyhow, we went about an hour off the target, and finally the pilot says, I don't have any idea where we're at, but he said, we're headed back to England, and he said, we're going to have to bail out. So we all went back into the waist of the plane, and it's the first time any of us had done that. We'd all had parachutes, but we'd never had to bail out. So we got in the back of the plane, and I was closest to the door, but I don't know why. I told the waist gunners, I said, hell, I've never done this before. Let me see how you do it. And so they were kind of shook up, and so they jumped out just like that. So I was the third man out. And what happened was evidently the pilot had let go of the controls, because on the one engine, it started circling back into the enemy lines. And I jumped the third man. Say if this is the line of battle, and we were coming from the north, I jumped first man here, the next man jumped here, the next man jumped here, the next man here, 5 of us, and then the pilot and the co-pilot were the last 2 guys out, evidently, and they jumped into the enemy lines. They were missing in action for about a year, and then they finally showed them up as deceased. Because when we got out, I hit the ground and I got caught in a tree with the chute, and I climbed out of that, and there was about 2 foot of snow. This was in the Ardennes forest. And what I did then was buried my chute, so that they told you to do all of that first. And I buried my chute, and then I started walking through this forest. Had no idea where we were. So I walked about an hour, and I came to a road. and found a place behind a tree, and I thought, well, I better see what the hell comes down the road. And I did that, and sure enough, here comes a Jeep. And so I ran out and flagged